Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and today's video is going to be a fun one. In today's video, I'm taking you to the Fantasy Cup, where a trainer is pairing up Shadow Dialga and Shadow Palkia for some explosive high attack action. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community and new content creator Tamez Tech, so many thanks for the battle submission, and make sure to go check out his content. Now, the team features Shadow Scizor on the lead, with Shadow Palkia, Shadow Dialga in the back. This team has no bulk to speak of whatsoever, but the battles are going to be awesome. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and we've got the Battle of Steel types in game number 1, Shadow Scizor into Shadow Empoleon. But a quick switch out, safe switching into the Palkia, and Empoleon stays in to grab a shield with the Drill Peck. This Palkia is not running the normal moveset, it is running Fire Blast. In comes Florges. Do they respect it? Shadow Palkia going for the Fire Blast. They do shield it. Oh, that is devastating. Opponent actually does respect that damage, and Trailblaze is going to set up a farm down. But this now gives an opportunity to Shadow Scizor. And Shadow Scizor is going to get a ton of farm against this Florges. Chilling Water is going to land. That's a boosted Chilling Water. That's some massive damage. Scizor now has a ton of energy, but that's Turtonator in the back, and a quick switch out to Dialga. These Dragon Breaths hitting for monster damage, but so are the Incinerates. Dialga puts up the final shield on the Dragon Claw. In comes Empoleon, and Empoleon will get baited with the double resisted Iron Head. Empoleon puts up the shield, Dialga will get outpaced, Dialga just gonna settle for the Iron Head. It's double resisted, but Empoleon is not tanky. Now it's gonna be a race, Metal Sound versus Dragon Breath. Empoleon gets the farm down, baits the top left, does not top left, and will win charge attack priority with the Scizor. Night Slash KOs the Empoleon, in comes the Turtonator, and Night Slash number 2 is reached. What a roller coaster game, faking the top left before Shadow Scizor slams the door and takes the win. Bad lead in the next match, Shadow Scizor once again aligned onto Turtonator. Safe switch Dialga answered with Florges, and this is where the increased pacing on Dragon Breath is going to be really helpful for Dialga. Iron Head shielded up, Florges continuing to farm up a ton of energy, and they're going to throw a move right before this Iron Head is reached. Dialga with the nose shield, Chilling Water does not knock out, and now this is going to be a -1 Iron Head. Iron Head into the Florges, picks up the one-hit KO, even with the debuff. Dialga, the damage output is ridiculous. They're going to pivot into Turtonator, and now it's going to be answered with Palkia, and this game is flipped on its head. Turtonator goes for the Dragon Claw. Can Palkia get a full farm down here? Yes, it can. Palkia, all the energy in the world as Altaria hits the field once again. Palkia is technically walled here, but these Aqua Tails are going to add up. Reaching for the Fire Blast, deciding against it, already at the back-to-back Aqua Tails, and that should be enough to take home the win. Not wanting to risk Palkia getting farmed down, because Palkia is so frail. Back-to-back Aqua Tails knock out the Altaria, and this team is off to a very nice start. Hopping into the next match, picking up a very nice lead for Shadow Scizor, leading into Shadow Giratina. Scizor does have the pacing advantage. Scizor gets the Night Slash. There's the catch on a Turtonator, but since they didn't wait the turn, they do not get their Incinerate Sneak, and now out comes Palkia. These Dragon Breaths hitting so hard. In case the Turtonator had Brutal Swing, Palkia just gonna throw the Aqua Tail instantly and take the KO. In the back, opponent has Galarian Weezing, and Weezing is not going to appreciate the Shadow Scizor that is awaiting it. Weezing no shields, look at the Aqua Tail damage, that has to be a crime. And now they just have basically no HP on any of their Mons. Back in comes the Giratina, but Giratina, the Dragon Breaths from Shadow Dialga are going to make quick work of it. In comes Dialga. Dialga looking for that full farm down. Opponent makes a last-second charge attack, but Dialga knows as long as Scizor has a shield, this game is over. Dialga tanks the Shadow Sneak, exits with a Thunder loaded, and the opponent should know there's no way out. There's going to be no shielding. Down goes Weezing, and the opponent unfortunately loses that game with both shields still intact. Oh man, bad lead in the next match. Shadow Scizor is once again greeted by Turtonator. Safe switch out of Palkia, answered with Togekiss. Togekiss will be able to survive an Aqua Tail, but after the Aqua Tail damage on that Weezing, we know it's going to hit a lot harder than people might expect. And the pacing catches the opponent off guard. Palkia able to get to a second Aqua Tail on the CMP tie, and just like that, Palkia is able to force a shield advantage out of a pretty unfavorable mid game. Waiting down the timer, in comes Scizor. Scizor gets the snipe down, and it's going to be up to Dialga. In comes Dialga. These Dragon Breaths adding up quite a bit. Opponent will stay in to grab a shield from the Dialga as they go for the Brutal Swing. In the back, they have their own Shadow Scizor, and these bullet punches do so much resisted damage. Scizor shields up the Iron Head. Dialga cannot make another move, and this is going to be a very tough game. I think the Turtonator still has quite a bit of health on it, so the Shadow Scizor may need a Night Slash boost if it wants to have a chance in this game. Opponent will get to connect with the Night Slash. That's big damage. Opponent gets the boost. That's not the Scizor that wanted the boost, though. Night Slash will be picking up the knockout. No boost comes through. Oh, but the Turtonator was lower than I remembered. Is this going to be enough? Night Slash into the Turtonator just does not KO, and that's going to be a heartbreaking defeat. Moving to the next match, and you cannot ask for a better lead than that. Shadow Scizor into Whimsicott. Opponent safe switches into Shadow Empoleon, and it appears they did not team build with Shadow Scizor in mind, as Empoleon down a turn is going to struggle immensely into Scizor. Out comes Shadow Palkia. Palkia, no shields, Drill Peck. Oh, that is devastating damage. Palkia barely able to hang on as it makes a last-second Aqua Tail. The Aqua Tail lands. Unfortunately, Empoleon is able to survive that Aqua Tail. To be fair, not by much, but it is able to hang on. And now out comes Shadow Dialga. Dialga is going to take huge damage from a Shadow Hydro Cannon. Opponent actually goes for a Drill Peck, but either way, that move is going to hit for incredible damage. In comes Whimsicott, quick switch into Scizor. Opponent will actually throw the Seed Bomb, but Scizor kind of has to shield everything. In the back, they have Galarian Weezing. I thought they were at least going to have another Steel type or a Bullet Punch resist. No, they clearly just like getting swept by Scizor. Scizor lands the Trailblaze, and these Bullet Punches onto Whimsicott are about to be absolutely devastating. Down goes the Weezing, in comes the Whimsicott, and Whimsicott is just getting torn to smithereens. Boosted Night Slash from the Shadow Scizor does get shielded, and there is the combo play. Back in comes Shadow Dialga. Iron Head probably knocks out two Whimsicotts there to secure the win. We move to the next game. Shadow Scizor bouncing back after leading into a few Turtonators, and I spoke too soon. Another Turtonator. Oh no. This time a safe switch into Dialga. Turtonator going to stay in this matchup, and Dialga wins charge attack priority. Iron Head is going to be resisted. Dialga actually does get a shield. That's quite nice. Dialga just going to decide to let this go. That's an overheat from the Turtonator. That's massive overkill. In comes Palkia, as the opponent is going to send in a Azumarill. Palkia going to throw the Aqua Tail. This will help burn the switch timer. Aqua Tail never going to do much to the Azumarill, but now, since the timer's up, in comes Scizor. The hope is that Palkia, with shields to hide behind and an Aqua Tail head start, will be able to put some serious pressure onto the opponent in the endgame. Azumarill firing off another Ice Beam that barely does not knock out. Shadow Scizor able to hang on very low HP to connect with the Trailblaze. In the back is going to be Giratina, and this game actually looks very playable for the Palkia. Palkia will get to spam out these Aqua Tails. They're resisted, but it's all about chip damage. The shield comes up from the opponent. Palkia is losing a lot of HP. These Shadow Claws do quite a bit of damage. The Ancient Power fishing for the boost, but thankfully they do not get it. Aqua Tail should be getting Giratina into the red health. In comes Turtonator, and that's just food for Palkia. Shadow Palkia gets that endgame sweep. With Azumarill out of the way, Palkia was just too deadly for the opponent. Shadow Scizor into Galarian Weezing, a dominant lead win. Safe switch from the opponent into Shadow Alolan Dugtrio. Uh-oh. If this is double Mud Slap, this could get bad very quickly. Palkia only going to make one Aqua Tail, as Palkia just gets deleted by Mud Slaps. In comes Shadow Scizor. Scizor would love a one-shield farm down, but I don't know if that's possible. Dugtrio, can it hang on? It does hang on. Scizor forced to burn both shields, and this is going to be a very tricky game. Scizor gets that full farm down, but pays a heavy price. It's going to be a Bronzong in the back. Of all the things I was expecting to see back there, maybe an Empoleon, maybe a Jirachi with that typing, but there's a Bronzong on my screen. Bronzong really not going to like these Night Slashes. They end up CMP tying, and that, I think, is going to be game over. In comes Dialga, Bronzong farming up some energy. There's going to be the switch out into Weezing. Weezing, they're getting one shot. There's no way Weezing is surviving. This is a Shadow Iron Head picking up the one-hit KO. Back in comes the Bronzong. Bronzong does make it to a charge attack. Is it the Psy Shock? No, it's the payback. Oh no, Bronzong barely able to outpace. That game was looking good until it wasn't, and unfortunately that will be a loss. Great lead in the next match. Shadow Scizor into Latios. Safe switch into Empoleon. And Empoleon, to me, is a pretty poor counter swap if you're leading something that is weak to Scizor. Because Scizor will always be able to get up one turn, and then Scizor can just control the matchup. In comes Dialga. Dialga is taking a lot of damage from these metal sounds. Dialga will actually have to go down a shield if it wants to get this full farm down. Latios will have to respect the potential Draco Meteor, although to be honest, even an Iron Head would do a lot. In comes Corviknight. Oh my goodness. Do we see the Thunder land? Thunder is gonna connect. Corviknight gets rocked. Palkia can probably snipe this with the Dragon Breath now, but that damage was beautiful. There's the Dragon Breath snipe. In comes Latios, and now it's a fast move race. Palkia, it's not winning that race. It's too frail, but there's still bullet punches available from Scizor. Scizor's bullet punches dealing devastating damage to this Latios. Latios will fire off the Aura Sphere. Scizor puts up the shield. Oh, the damage registration error. The damage does not go through. Aura Sphere lands, picking up the knockout. In comes Palkia, but Palkia gets the farm down with a help from a lot of bullet punches. Palkia is able to take that win. We move to the next match with Shadow Scizor greeting an old friend in Turtonator. Turtonator actually turn-weighted there, expecting the switch out, but they end up staying in once they see the Dialga to grab a shield with Brutal Swing. Now there's the switch out into Empoleon. Will Empoleon respect the Thunder? I imagine a Draco Meteor would still one-shot, so they probably have to shield, and they do just that. Empoleon farming up quite a lot of energy, but now Dialga makes the Iron Head. How good is their counting? Iron Head, no shielded by the opponent on the CMP tie. This is going to be a very tricky game to win. Scizor just might have to be fully sacrificed, because Scizor, unfortunately, is not going to be able to do basically anything into a Turtonator. Hydro Cannon lands, there's the switch to Turtonator, quick switch into Palkia. Palkia does get that farm down. Turtonator unable to get that Brutal Swing. In comes Empoleon, hoping to make it to a Drill Peck, but Palkia says no. Aqua Tail is shielded, making it to another Aqua Tail, and Empoleon, they shielded for the energy, they do not get the energy, and in the back, they have Galarian Stunfisk. Oh, I was hoping to see the Fire Blast. Opponent will resign the match before the Fire Blast can land. Great lead in the next match. Shadow Scizor into Azumarill. Azumarill staying in this matchup, so it appears something is terribly wrong for the opponent, as Azumarill has an exceptionally poor matchup here. Trailblaze lands devastating damage onto the Azumarill. Azumarill undertaps the Ice Beam. Scizor is more than happy to shield once and fully farm down. There's a safe switch. In comes Turtonator. Turtonator opting for the Brutal Swing. This should be survivable for the Palkia. Palkia is able to hang on, and the fact that Incinerate does such little damage is really, really nice for the Palkia. Palkia, Aqua Tail will easily pick up the knockout. Turtonator gonna let itself get KO'd. The question is, what did the opponent have in the back that was afraid of Scizor? And the question is answered. It is the Dene. The Dene is going to take huge damage from the bullet punches from Scizor. They shield up the Aqua Tail. Palkia gets farmed down, but now it's time for Scizor to deal as much damage as it possibly can. In comes Scizor. Scizor down on energy. Letting the Palkia get farmed down does make this a little bit tricky, just because the Dene does have the energy head start. A potential parabolic catch onto the Dialga could be an option as well, and there it is. If you're going to let yourself get farmed down, you may as well get a catch out of it. Parabolic absorbed onto that Dialga. Dialga continues to farm. Opponent gonna make a very nice catch as they catch the Iron Head onto their Azumarill. Iron Head full undercharge. This is gonna set up farm for Dialga. Dialga gets a big farm down. Opponent's gonna have to be so precise with their overfarm, and they overfarm to the max. But they don't have enough residual energy. They cannot outpace the Shadow Scizor. That beautiful undercharge ends up being game-winning, as Trailblaze will easily pick up the knockout and take that win. Hopping into the final match, and we've got a mirror lead Shadow Scizor versus Shadow Scizor. Now, according to his IVs, he does have a pretty decent Scizor, so he's probably going to be losing charge attack priority. One option if you lose charge attack priority is you can overfarm and go for a Trailblaze, as if you're able to boost up your bullet punches, then you can typically win switch. But instead, just going to go straight for the Night Slash and play it out. Opponent is going to be winning charge attack priority, and I do not want to see this Night Slash damage. It's caught onto Dialga, but this is going to hurt. Dialga loses so much health, and out comes Azumarill. Azumarill. Oh, did they CMP tie to a Thunder? That would actually be really, really nice. Thunder is gonna connect devastating damage onto the Azumarill, and this sets up a perfect Palkia farm. Palkia should be able to get the full Dragon Breath down. Oh, look at this farm. Palkia takes no damage, gets so much energy. In the back is Altaria. Palkia has so much energy. Going for the Aqua Tail. Does the opponent end up shielding? No, they no shield, but back in comes Shadow Scizor. Scizor's Night Slash will be putting them pretty low. They decide to shield. There's a switch into their own Scizor. They get farmed down, but the bullet punches mean that Scizor does not make a move. In comes Palkia. Palkia thought about the Fire Blast, but again, the Dragon Breath just hit too hard. Aqua Tail into Altaria, takes the knockout anyway, and that's a good game. All in all, these are some extremely fun battles, so many thanks to Temestek for sending in this footage. As I mentioned at the start, he is a newer creator to the Pokemon Go Battle League scene. He's streaming over on Twitch as well, quite a few days a week. On top of that, he's just a very enjoyable person to watch battle. So if you haven't already, make sure to check him out, show some love, drop a sub to his YouTube channel, and drop a follow over there on Twitch. As far as the actual team, he mentioned that it went, I think, 14-6. So he did have some pretty nice results with it. Obviously, if you have a team that has absolutely zero bulk to speak of, it's going to be more of a team for fun than for climbing, but it goes to show the skill of the battler if they're able to get wins with such a crazy team. Shadow Palkia and Shadow Dialga are some of the most fun Pokemon that you can use in the Great League. Obviously, they have the bulk of a wet paper plate, so even like neutral fast moves, they get destroyed. Like, as a water-type Palkia just getting shredded by that Excadrill in one of the games, or maybe a Dugtrio. The two Mudslappers in the meta are basically the same mon, but Palkia just got absolutely deleted. So overall, to me, more of a team for fun than for climbing, but these are some extremely fun battles. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our channel members here on YouTube. The support you guys provide is genuinely so appreciated, so thank you guys so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.